and somebody had shot a deer on his land, and then they were going to sneak around and come get it like at night. And he goes and lays down in the grass and hides. At 72, Ronnie Dunn just shattered decades of assumptions about Brooks and Dunn with a revelation no one saw coming. Fans who believed the duo story was all harmony and brotherhood may need to sit down. Behind the chart-topping hits and reunion tours lies a truth that changes everything. This bombshell confession from Ronnie Dunn is so shocking you might not believe it at first. When Ronnie Dunn and Kix Brooks were first paired together by their record label in 1990, neither man expected the collaboration to endure. Both were seasoned musicians in their own right, each carrying ambitions, egos, and personal visions of what their careers should look like. Dunn, already known for his powerful, soulful voice and skill as a songwriter, and Brooks, recognized for his lyrical creativity and dynamic stage presence, came from very different musical backgrounds. Fila Bell's decision to pair them was in AI's a business experiment rather than a natural alignment of talent. In interviews looking back, Dunn has admitted that he and Brooks genuinely didn't believe they'd last more than 3 years as a duo. The advice from their label was clear: write songs together, find a sound, and see what sticks. Buto, Dunn, and Brooks. The concept of sticking together felt almost absurd at first. Both were accustomed to pursuing their own careers independently, crafting songs according to their own instincts, and performing with the confidence of solitary artists. The idea that two strong-willed songwriters could mesh seamlessly seemed at best optimistic. What happened instead was almost miraculous. During a single intense writing weekend, the two men created Brand New Man, a song that would not only become their first major hit, but also the anthem that defined the start of their career as a duo. It was our song born out of spontaneous chemistry and shared vision, a rare spark that neither of them anticipated. Brooks' knack for narrative storytelling meshed perfectly with Dunn's emotive vocal style, creating a sound that was both fresh and authentic. The songwriting process revealed an unspoken synergy. Ideas bounced effortlessly between them. Melodies and lyrics evolved naturally, and a musical dialogue emerged that neither had experienced before with other collaborators. That weekend marked more than just the creation of a hit. It was the foundation of a partnership that would endure far longer than either had imagined. The success of Brand New Man gave them immediate credibility and a tangible reason to keep going. What began as a tentative experiment became a shared mission fueled by mutual respect and a growing friendship. They quickly realized that their contrasting strengths weren't obstacles, but complementary forces. Dunn's powerhouse vocals counterbalanced by Brooks' clever lyricism. Brooks' creative spontaneity, sharpened by Dunn's disciplined approach to songcraft. Their early uncertainty only amplified the impact of their initial success. Neither had anticipated that a label's experimental pairing would lead to a career-defining collaboration, one that would eventually make Brooks and Dunn one of the most iconic duos in country music history. That first weekend of songwriting, the serendipitous creation of Brand New Man, and the resulting surprise of their immediate success set the tone for a partnership defined by resilience, creativity, and an unshakable connection that would endure decades. A beginning that, in hindsight, seemed improbable, yet perfectly inevitable. Throughout the 1990s and into the 2000s, Brooks and Dunn became one of the most successful acts in country music, their albums topping charts and their hits dominating airwaves. Yet behind the scenes, the duo's remarkable public synergy masked a relationship that was far from effortless. Ronnie Dunn and Kix Brooks have both been candid about how different they were when they were first paired together, and how little they had in common beyond a shared pursuit of success. They came from separate musical paths, distinct personal histories, and contrasting temperaments, making their collaboration in many ways a delicate balancing act. Dunn, known for his introspective, soulful approach to music, often gravitated toward emotionally charged lyrics and precision in performance. Brooks, on the other hand, carried a more spontaneous, playful energy, infusing songs with wit, humor, and a storytelling flair. Where Dunn approached songwriting with careful deliberation, Brooks thrived on improvisation and experimentation. In candid interviews, both have described the early days of their partnership as something like a NASR race, high speed, intense, and prone to collision. Their personalities didn't naturally align. Disagreements over creative choices were frequent and clashes seemed almost inevitable. Yet, in an unusual paradox, it was this very tension that forged a musical partnership capable of producing hits that resonated with fans nationwide despite their differences. Dunn and Brooks discovered that their contrasting styles were complementary. Where Brooks could lighten a song with clever turn-off phrase, Dunn could anchor it with a powerful vocal delivery that conveyed sincerity and depth. This balance created a sound that was instantly recognizable, gritty yet polished, traditional yet contemporary, even as their personal connection remained somewhat reserved. Their musical chemistry grew stronger with each album, each tour, each performance. Their ability to channel tension into art became a defining feature of their success. The duo has openly admitted that the partnership required compromise and constant negotiation. They did not share hobbies, social circles, or even lifestyle preferences. Yet, they shared a commitment to the craft and a determination to make the collaboration work. No matter how unlikely it seemed that in many ways, Brooks and Dunn defied expectations. Two individuals with minimal personal common ground, creating a professional relationship that lasted over 2 decades. The public saw seamless harmonies, memorable hooks, and chart-topping albums. But the reality behind the hits was a complex mix of mutual respect, creative friction, and disciplined professionalism. By the late 2000s, the unusual dynamic that had once seemed precarious had become a cornerstone of their identity. Fans may have assumed that the duo's longevity was rooted in friendship or similar personalities, but in truth, it was precisely the opposite. Their differences, once a potential obstacle, became the engine driving innovation, creativity, and a career that would cement Brooks and Dunn as a legendary act in country music history. When Brooks and Dunn announced their decision to step back from performing together around 2009 to 2010, the public narrative was carefully framed as a mutual amicable break. Fans were told that the duo simply needed time apart, a pause after decades of touring, recording, and relentless public attention. But in candid interviews, Ronnie Dunn has offered a far more unvarnished and revealing account of what really happened. One that contradicts the polished media-friendly version of events. Dunn explained that their split wasn't the result of a peaceful agreement or a well-considered plan for the future. It was, in his words, a deliberate attempt to blow it real hard. By this point, Brooks and Dunn had spent nearly 2 decades together, achieving a level of commercial success few country acts could match. They had written and performed some of the genre's most enduring hits, amassed countless awards, and become fixtures in the public imagination. Yet, the intensity of such a long-term collaboration, combined with their very different personalities, had begun to take its toll. Creative disagreements, differing approaches to music and touring, and the inevitable pressures of constant public scrutiny had built up over the years. Dunn's admission frames the split not as a failure, but as a natural climax of a partnership that had reached its limits, at least for the moment. The phrase, "we're trying to blow it real hard," reflects a level of honesty that the duo rarely displayed publicly. It suggests that both men recognized the friction between them, and rather than pretending everything was perfect, they allowed themselves to confront the tension head-on. It was an act of candid realism, acknowledging that a partnership, no matter how successful, can be tested by time, ambition, and personal differences. This approach diverged sharply from the usual sanitized narrative of celebrity splits, the kind that implies everything is friendly, understandable, and graceful. Dunn's framing admits that their initial departure was messy, human, and entirely grounded in the reality of 2 strong-willed artists trying to find their own paths. Interestingly, the way Brooks and Dunn handled this period also speaks to their professionalism. Even as the duo took a step back, they did so without burning bridges completely. There was no public feud, no acrimony broadcast for media spectacle. Instead, there was an unspoken understanding that the partnership had run its course for a time. Both men pursued solo projects and personal endeavors, allowing themselves space to explore musical directions independently. Yet beneath this separation lingered the foundation of trust and mutual respect that had always underpinned their collaboration. In 2024, Ronnie Dunn made headlines not for a new song or tour announcement, but for his strikingly candid insight into the world of country music, a world he knows intimately after decades at the top. Appearing on This Past Weekend with Theo Vaughn, Dunn delivered one of the more startling bombshell-style statements of his career, pulling back the curtain on an industry often portrayed to the public as wholesome, friendly, and almost familial. What he revealed was anything but cozy. Behind the polished exterior, the reality of country music is fiercely competitive, with rivalries and resentment simmering beneath the surface. Dunn's blunt declaration that everybody hates one another behind the scenes caught fans and industry insiders off guard. Country music, especially in the public imagination, is often painted as a supportive community. Artists collaborating on songwriting sessions, performing at charity events, and sharing stories of mentorship and camaraderie. But Dunn's assessment stripped away that veneer, revealing an undercurrent of competition that can be ruthless. He emphasized that despite appearances, success in the industry often comes at the expense of others, and that alliances are fragile, sometimes formed out of convenience rather than genuine friendship. This revelation resonated particularly because of Dunn's long and storied career with Kix Brooks. As one half of Brooks and Dunn, he had experienced the highs of superstardom, the pressure of maintaining relevance in an evolving industry, and the tension of navigating personal and professional relationships under constant scrutiny. The duo's own